this is a game that definitely is on my. I gotta have this game, and I'll probably be getting this game soon. And yeah, but I'm gonna let the
I
guys
think
that
you
actually
will from the pre-show.
I'll let the guys that actually play the game talk. But guys, go ahead.
Mark, man, what's up, dude?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so two aspects to talk about, right? The game itself and then the suffering from success. The game itself, I think, is brilliant. It's a major leap forward from the first one, which there were a lot of things conceptually in the first one I liked, but just from the perspective of that top-down isometric gameplay, it didn't really hook me as well. This new one, I think, takes all the right risks and has just made a game that's just a blast to play with friends, right? From the theme, the tone, it nails it all perfectly. I mean, this is a Starship Troopers love letter from that opening video to just the enemies and everything. And it's a game, like I said, it's not afraid to take the right risk. When I think of games that you play with friends, right? Not even just video games, but sports, outdoors, all that stuff, the whole point and beauty of play is it allows us to kind of learn together, learn boundaries together, and kind of force us to evolve in some small way. This is a game where you can kill your friends, where if you don't get real smart with where you throw your stratagems, you might put an Oppenheimer on them and they're gone, right? And you fail the mission, right? So it puts all those penalties in, but it's still such a rewarding game in itself that it's just a blast. And so like I highly recommend it. The technical issue, I feel really bad for them because this is such a small team. And I don't think internally they ever could have projected they would have set these numbers, right? Kirk, you said they had over 444,000 players or something like that. That's above Halo Infinite numbers.
Yeah.
You can plan as much as you want for your server stability, and they were already having those issues. Now, the CEO today did tweet out, which was funny, because they wanted to reward people for the struggles. So they offered a free PS Plus weekend and they offered double experience points this past weekend. And that all culminated in just a big mess for them. And he's like, in hindsight, the CEO said this, that was probably a mistake. The good news is this is something they can fix. And I imagine now that the whole workforce is back from the weekend, they will aggressively focus on that. But I do wonder how it affects the perception for some people. Like I have many friends who want to get it, but they're like, my first perception is you not being able to get in, and that makes me sad. But again, that's a blip, I think, in the whole story of what this game's going to do. What do you think, Brian?
So I think one of the biggest takeaways that I have that makes me a little bit biased towards these kind of games is that I have played a lot of games that are live service, online type games. And so I just mentally am prepared for problems with connections, and especially when it's like, oh, we all want to play, etc. And I usually opt into, and this sucks for a lot of people who are like, I really want to play this game. That's the only thing I want to play when I get off work. And now I can't. Now we're getting these connection issues. But for me, I'm like, oh, I get that it's an online game, that we have these challenge. They are going to have these challenges because every online game is going to have these challenges, unless you're like an Amazon games, kind of where like, hey, we're just going to throw thousands and thousands of servers at it because we have those servers just ready to go. Ultimately, I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, what can I play else? Otherwise. So for example, I was playing Helldivers 2. We're having a good time. Ended up running into some connection issues after about an hour and a half. But I was like, yeah, I had fun. Okay, I'm going to pivot and go play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because like I'm not going to sit here and let myself get frustrated over something that I can't fix. There's nothing I can do, that will increase the server capacity or these things. The devs, I know, because I've been in these grueling things, or we're like working to find and fix the issues, because it could be a networking thing. It could be just a literal capacity on hardware. Hey, oh crap, we need more hardware, and then trying to get that availability and the cost and trying to manage it. Same kind of concept with when you take Power World, right? Power World kept growing and growing and growing, hitting over 2 million, right? That's impressive. But then you realize that cost them also $400,000 for the servers that month alone. And you're like, yeah, there's the real world implications. So I end up usually siding on the aspect of grace, but I don't want to discount anybody's frustration, because it is legitimate. There's nothing like, you get a game, you want to play the game, especially when the game's this good. And it is this good.
It reminds me a lot of those old Battlefront games, but like refreshed and polished for a new audience. And I think the price point kind of adds to that, of like, this is just a fun game where it's really low stakes for you to get in. We want as much people as possible. And they put out a call. They said, "Do your part for democracy," and yeah, that part's ridiculous in the trailer where it's like you learn how to heal by getting a nail to your face. Yeah, that's great, dude. The satire in this game is fantastic. I mean, I think ever since the trailer and the state of play or PlayStation Showcase, I can't remember, but whatever it was that was like so good that it almost looked like live action, but it was so satirical and funny, like a TV show or something with the guy like losing his family like right in front of him. It's awful, but funny at the same time.
It sets the, and then this year alone, we've seen games come at that $30 and $40 mark and just explode in terms of success and sales. And I wonder if that ends up having anything to do with it, because it sets an expectation. And then I think Helldivers 2 delivers and then doubles down on that expectation.
Yeah, I think there's two advantages to that price point, right? It's in a more affordable price point, but the other thing, and we mentioned this in the pre-show, right? They're a smaller team. Their overhead's less than Ubisoft or any of these big teams, and that gives them the advantage that, again, the innovation is going to come from these smaller teams doing something unique. Fruit mentioned in the chat, I am afraid of an Epic game saying, let's put this in Fortnite, because they have such a large player base that could just suck people up, but I don't think it would capture the same spirit and identity that what we have here in Helldivers 2. That happens often where they try to copy it, but they miss the actual spirit of what that original idea is.